In ancient legends, people often mentioned portals leading to other worlds. Portals near the underworld, head-turning whirlpools, floating spots in the sea without explanation. Phoenician sailors, hunting eyes of Atlantis, and ancient Egyptian explorers all believed that these gates were guarded by spirit creatures, half god, half monster. Don't let the like button be lonely, don't let the share button wither, and don't let the subscribe button wait for you forever. Today, in the middle of the deep blue Caribbean Ocean, there exists a place that seems half god, half monster, the Great Blue Hole of Belize. From the first satellite images, it appeared as a dark spot in the deep blue sea, creating a feeling of both wonder and creepiness. The perfect circle brought to light many theories. Was it created by someone, or something, or is it simply the morality of nature, a cheeky coincidence? And when the first deep dives were made, people discovered even stranger things. Giant stalactites deep in the darkness, vestiges of an era when the sea level was not so high. All of them were like whispers inviting people to come closer to the forgotten secrets of the earth. But what is hidden there? What created such a perfect hole? Is it just a geological phenomenon, or the ruins of an ancient civilization? Or perhaps it is a real gateway to unknown borders? Chapter 1. Haunting Beauty from Above. From a height of thousands of meters, the Great Blue Hole appears like a giant eye, cold and mysterious, floating on the surface of the Caribbean Sea. The pale turquoise rims the haunting deep blue, like a magic mirror reflecting the secrets of the ocean. Local pilots, familiar with the waves and winds here, say that on special days, when light rain sprinkles the water and sunlight sparkles through thin layers of clouds, the blue hole looks like a glass door, reflecting images that are not of this world. Many swear they have seen strange lights, shadowy figures moving beneath the water, as if something is waiting, calling from the depths below. Some rumors even say that those who stare too long into the center of the hole will feel a mysterious pull, as if their minds and souls are being pulled down to the bottom. Many sailors and travelers have reported that, in their dreams after flying over, they often find themselves floating in endless space, watched by a giant eye watching their every breath. But the strangest thing is the sporadic disappearances reported around this area. Small boats, diving expeditions never returned, or returned with broken stories, bewildered eyes, and unnamed fears. Is there something in the depths of the Great Blue Hole? Something still sleeping, waiting to be awakened? Or is it all just a product of the human mind when faced with the vastness and absolute depth? Whatever the answer, one thing is certain. Every time one looks up at the Great Blue Hole from above, one feels one's infinite smallness in the face of a great mystery and a silent but powerful call from the depths of the cold ocean. And that is only the beginning of what awaits below the surface, where light cannot reach and time seems to have stopped. Chapter 2. The First Dive, Facing the Darkness. In the early 1970s, when deep diving technology was still limited and underwater support equipment was primitive, a group of intrepid explorers decided to do what no one had ever dared to do. Dive into the depths of the Great Blue Hole of Belize to discover the secrets that lay dormant at the bottom. Leading the expedition was the renowned oceanographer Jacques Cousteau. With an unbounded passion for unexplored waters, Cousteau believed that blue holes contained stories that the ocean had deliberately kept hidden for millennia. The first dive, Call from the Deep. The Calypso anchored near the edge of the hole. The last rays of the day dyed the water a golden yellow, making the entire surrounding sea glow, contrasting strangely with the deep blue-black of the hole's mouth. Cousteau and his team donned scuba tanks, safety harnesses, and specialized headlamps, the only light they would have as they descended into the unlit depths. As they began their descent, the water temperature dropped rapidly. The shimmering surface disappeared, replaced by a thick darkness. Strange bioluminescent creatures, floating patches of algae that waved like ghostly hands, surrounded them. About 30 meters below the surface, a strange opaque veil appeared, a thick layer of hydrogen sulfide, separating the world above from the abyss below. As they passed through the toxic mist, the light from their headlamps could only illuminate a few meters ahead. There were no fish, no coral, just deathly silence and an eerie sense of claustrophobia. Strange discoveries. At a depth of 90 meters, the divers encountered giant stalactites rising from the bottom of the pit. They were like the pillars of an ancient sunken temple, proud and cold. Some of the pillars were so large that it took minutes to swim around them. In the dim light, the smooth rock walls were marked with strange scratches and grooves. Some of the cuts were so straight that no one could believe they were the result of natural erosion. A young diver reportedly nearly lost his life trying to follow a narrow slit leading deeper into the pit, where his depth gauge began to flicker as if disturbed by an invisible force. And strangest of all, they recorded mysterious sounds, soft thumps, distant groans, as if coming from the bottom of the black water basin. Unusual incidents. During one dive, a diver's navigation system suddenly stopped working. The compass spun in circles, and the pressure gauge gave an abnormal reading. The diver, panicked, described feeling as if he were being pulled down by an invisible weight. Each breath seemed harder, heavier. Rescuers had to act fast, pulling him to the surface before his oxygen tank ran out. But he never dived again. Every time he closed his eyes, he dreamed of sinking into a pitch-black ocean with whispers echoing around him. A warning from the sea. Jacques Cousteau, in his post-exploration report, admitted, "There are places in the ocean where man does not belong. The Great Blue Hole is one of them." He refused to make any more dives into the blue hole, leaving behind unanswered questions. Who or what was waiting in that darkness? Why were the strange sounds echoing from the bottomless depths? And should we continue to disturb the ancient silence? The Great Blue Hole, after the first dives, became more than just a natural wonder. It became a reminder that in this modern world, there are still mysteries beyond human understanding and courage. Chapter 3. Ancient Legends of the Blue Hole. Even before modern explorers discovered the Great Blue Hole, the waters of Belize echoed with terrifying stories, passed down from generation to generation by the indigenous people, who lived in harmony with the sea but were always wary of this giant black hole. Mayan legends, a portal to the other world. According to the ancient Maya, the blue hole was more than just a deep pool of water. They believed it was Xibalba B, a watery portal to Xibalba, the world of the dead and wandering souls. Legend has it that on moonlit nights, if you stand near the edge of the pit and listen closely, you can hear the call of the souls that are immersed in the deep darkness. Those who listen to that call, if they dare to approach, will be pulled down by invisible hands, forever disappearing from the world of the living. Some ancient texts also mention sacrifices held at the edge of the pit, where living sacrifices, even humans, were thrown in to appease the anger of the sea gods. Legend has it that whenever violent storms sweep through the Caribbean, it is a sign that the gods are demanding new sacrifices. The pirates and the curse of the Blue Sea. In the 17th century, the waters around Belize were a hotbed of notorious pirates. One the thrilling tale of Captain Hernando de Vigo, a man who made his fortune through plundering throughout the Caribbean, is told. According to legend, after seizing a priceless treasure from a Spanish ship, Vigo and his crew sought to hide it in a place no one else would dare to venture, the Great Blue Hole. But as soon as the treasure was thrown into the hole, terrible things began to happen. At first, there were collective nightmares. The crew dreamed that they were drowning in the dark water. Then the mysterious disappearances began. Sailors disappeared right from the deck, leaving behind water stains and cold handprints. Finally, Vigo's ship was found drifting unmanned near Lighthouse Reef. Both the treasure and the crew disappeared, leaving behind only chilling rumors of the curse of the Blue Sea that, to this day, no one has dared to attempt to find the treasure again. Strange objects in the hole. In modern diving expeditions, divers have recorded inexplicable discoveries. Strange stone statues resembling human figures, covered with moss. Some of the rocks were engraved with strange symbols, unlike any known ancient writing system. A veteran diver, after recovering a strange piece of debris from the bottom of the hole, swore that from then on his life was filled with misfortune. Relatives became ill, his business failed, and terrifying dreams of the deep sea haunted him every night. Finally, in a panic, he threw the piece back into the sea, right next to the blue hole, and from then on the strange phenomena gradually disappeared. The mystery that never sleeps. The great blue hole is still there, silent and deep, like a giant eye watching every move of man. With ancient stories, forgotten curses, and unproven legends, this place continues to challenge the imagination and courage of those who dare to approach. In the next chapter, we will explore together the most exciting scientific theories about the true origin of the Great Blue Hole. Is it simply a natural phenomenon, or is it the vestige of a lost civilization? Chapter 4: Scientific Theories and Hidden Truths. The Great Blue Hole has not only excited the imagination of those who believe in the legend, but also intrigued scientists. From serious studies to the most outlandish theories, every effort has been made to lift the veil of mystery surrounding this giant crater. The collapsed cave hypothesis. Many geologists agree that the Great Blue Hole may have once been a vast limestone cave system, formed during the Ice Age when sea levels were hundreds of meters lower than they are today. Over time, as the climate warmed, the ice melted and sea levels rose, the cave roof collapsed, leaving a perfectly circular hole that is now filled with seawater. What is strange is that stalactites and stalagmites have been found at the bottom of the hole, a clear indication that they were formed in dry conditions, which could only have occurred when the hole was a dry cave. These stalactites stand as great pillars, silently standing guard over the ancient mystery of which they are a part. The Atlantis Ruins Hypothesis. Some researchers are not afraid to put forward a more daring hypothesis. The Great Blue Hole could be part of the ruins of the legendary city of Atlantis. Proponents of this hypothesis point to the near-perfect perfection of the hole, a nearly perfect circle, and argue that it is unlikely to have formed by natural processes alone. Could it be the remains of a gigantic structure, submerged and destroyed by an ancient catastrophe? Some supporting evidence for this theory includes strange structures found nearby. Stone steps that look like foundations and straight stone walls were recorded during deep dives. The magnetic anomaly hypothesis. Scientists specializing in geomagnetism have taken many measurements around the Great Blue Hole. Surprisingly, they have recorded small but distinct abnormalities in the Earth's magnetic field there. Some researchers speculate that these magnetic anomalies may affect navigational equipment, causing the mysterious accidents and disappearances that have been recorded near this area. Could the Great Blue Hole hide a giant metal object beneath its limestone sediments? Mysterious sounds. In an effort to explore the depths of the hole with advanced sonar equipment, scientists have also recorded strange sounds coming from below the water's depths. Rhythmic, deep sounds that cannot be explained by ordinary natural phenomena. A chilling hypothesis has been raised. Could there be another, much larger cave system beneath the hole, where the movement of water, air, or even something else is creating those sounds? A door to greater mysteries. Whether it is the product of majestic natural processes or the remains of lost civilizations, the Great Blue Hole stands as a silent invitation. Those who dare to go deeper into its abyss must prepare themselves to face questions that humanity will never be able to answer. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper. What really lurks at the bottom of the hole, where light and signals are swallowed up? Chapter 5. The mystery at the bottom of the hole. Nearly 125 meters below the surface of the Caribbean Sea, where the light is extinguished and the water seems to thicken into a thick black mist, lies a world that humans hardly belong to. It is the bottom of the Great Blue Hole, a place that even modern technology must be wary of, and where each expedition brings back new mysteries, not answers. Dead sediments. A 2018 expedition, led by billionaire Richard Branson and Jacques Cousteau's grandson Fabien Cousteau, marked the first time the bottom of the hole had been mapped using high-resolution 3D sonar technology. But what shocked them was not the topography of the bottom of the hole. It was what they found there. At depths of about 105 meters down, they discovered a strange layer of black mud, thick, powdery, and devoid of any sign of life. Scientists call it the dead zone, where there is no oxygen, no water movement, no recorded life. But what makes it all creepy is that the mud seems to have been stirred up from below. Who, or what, stirred up the dead mud? The unexplained stone cages. During a deep dive, the ROV, remotely operated vehicle, recorded clusters of rocks standing on the bottom, looking like crude stone cages arranged in a semicircle more than 2 meters high. Researchers initially thought that these were just natural sediments that had eroded, but their intentional shape made many people suspicious. Could this be the remains of an ancient ritual, an execution site, or worse, a structure to hold some creature that once lived in the sea? The rocks were free of moss, free of corrosion, as if they had just been placed there. In dry environment oxygen, which seemed plausible, but the creepy feeling persisted. Had someone or something lived there? The nameless body. It did not appear in any official reports, but according to an anonymous member of the expedition, an object resembling a human body was recorded on video at the bottom of the pit. The body lay motionless, in a position that looked like it was hugging itself. But as the ROV got closer, the signal began to distort heavily, and the image disappeared. After the videos were recovered, the archive said the relevant footage had been overloaded and could not be recovered. However, many of the crew claimed to have seen the object, and not for the first time. Rumors of missing divers, bodies that never surfaced, were once again evoked in chilling tones by those present. The mysterious reverse tornado. A strange phenomenon was recorded in 1999 when a group of professional divers surveyed the bottom of the hole during high tide. When they approached the water layer rich in hydrogen sulfide, a toxic gas that usually settles at the bottom, suddenly a reverse vortex from below suddenly appeared, pulling one of the group down nearly 5 meters in just a few seconds. It is worth mentioning that, according to physics theory, the pressure from great depths should have pushed everything down. It could not have created such a reverse vortex. Scientists later did not find a specific cause, but the divers recounted. In the moment of being sucked down, their friend shouted a sentence that gave everyone goosebumps. "It's down there. Something is opening." He survived but never dived again. Doors that cannot be opened. In late 2021, an archaeological pilot project was launched with the goal of sending robots deep into large cracks in the rock at the bottom of the pit, hoping to discover a system of underground caves that connect. But all the robots encountered the same problem. When they approached a large circular crack, like a cave entrance, their navigation systems were completely disabled. When the signal was restored, the camera returned a picture of nothing. Nothing. The crack disappeared or never existed. Was there something there, a hidden mechanism like a smart door that only opened under special conditions? Or a natural structure that could change position, like a creature? And the scariest thing, since that survey, one member of the research team claims to have had the same dream over and over again. A giant vortex and voices whispering his name, pulling him toward the bottom. Chapter 6. Mysterious Disappearances and Eternal Silence. The Great Blue Hole is not only a natural wonder, it is also a place from which not everyone who enters can ever return. Throughout its history of exploration, a series of mysterious disappearances have occurred, and most have left no trace. The stories passed around among divers, in the bars along the coast of Belize, always begin with a wary glance and end in a chilling silence. 1. The never-ending list. According to unofficial records, since the early 1970s, at least 21 disappearances have been confirmed around the Great Blue Hole, most of them professional divers. But official reports acknowledge only a fraction of these. It is said that some families were asked to sign confidentiality documents in exchange for secret compensation to prevent the information from spreading widely. This mystery only fueled the dark theories surrounding the pit. 2. The disappearance of the Poseidon team, 1992. One of the most famous disappearances was that of the Poseidon team in 1992. The four-man team, all highly qualified rescue divers, decided to test a new dive route down to 120 meters to explore the cave branches below. They were fully equipped, heliox mix compressed air, advanced communications equipment, and an estimated time of only 38 minutes underwater. But after leaving the water, they never returned. The last communication from the Poseidon team to the surface station consisted of a single sentence. We see the passage, but it's closing. That short sentence sent a chill down the spine of the world. 3. The immortal vortices. In 2001, two amateur divers filmed a strange phenomenon. Just before the camera signal was lost, the image showed a small water vortex, not on the surface, but right under a thick layer of hydrogen sulfide, rotating very slowly, as if inhaling everything around it. Their bodies were never found. The film was also badly damaged, leaving only a few flickering frames, but it was enough to haunt those who dare to look. 4. The nameless light. Another unusual phenomenon reported by many experienced divers. When they went deep near the bottom of the hole, they sometimes saw pale green rays of light glimmering in the darkness, moving like underwater torches. But as they got closer, the light disappeared, and often followed by a strange disorientation. The feeling that the sea floor suddenly turned upside down, pulling people deeper. Some say it's just a nitrogen hallucination when diving deep, but others whisper it's guardians, spirits, or entities protecting secrets at the bottom of the pit. 5. The call from the bottom. More frighteningly, some divers who have survived near-death dives have reported hearing strange sounds while diving deep, like soft singing or calling their names. It was very faint at first, but as they got closer to the bottom, the calls became clearer, more enticing, as if someone or something was inviting them to go deeper, to willingly let go of the ground. One survivor described, "I saw the image of my mother. She was standing at the bottom of the pit, holding out her hand to call me. If I hadn't woken up in time and activated the emergency buoy, I would have stayed down there forever." 6. Time holes. Some more extreme theories have been woven. That the Great Blue Hole contains a natural dimensional portal, a place where time, gravity, and human consciousness are distorted. Evidence? There are cases where divers have reported that their dive timers have gone haywire. After just a few minutes at the bottom, the device reports that they have been diving for more than 3 hours. Yet, when they return to the surface, their bodies have consumed only as much oxygen as a normal dive. Is the blue hole really a time warp, or just an extreme psychological trap created by the absolute isolation of the ocean floor? And at the end of the chapter, each time the blue hole swallows a person, the sea seems to grow a little quieter. An eternal whisper echoes beneath the water, inviting the curious to step deeper into the darkness, where only the cold, eternal silence awaits. Chapter 7. Modern Explorations, Technology and Darkness. With the rapid development of technology, the Great Blue Hole is no longer a mystery that belongs only to rudimentary dives. Modern explorations, using advanced equipment such as 3D sonar scanners, autonomous diving robots, and deep-sea environmental monitoring tools, have helped expand our understanding of this deep hole. However, despite the advanced technology, the blue hole still retains an unsolved mystery. 1. 3D sonar scanner, mapping the blue hole. The first attempts to create an accurate map of the Great Blue Hole began in the mid-1990s, but it was only in 2018, with the participation of a research team from Richard Branson's Virgin Oceanic Foundation, that 3D sonar technology really helped clarify the structure of the bottom of the hole. 3D sonar is an incredibly powerful tool, capable of creating maps of underwater spaces with unprecedented detail. Yet despite all this, these maps still reveal only a small part of the mystery. Some areas of the bottom of the hole seem impossible to scan, where the map is constantly distorted in certain spots, forcing researchers to halt surveys there. This has led many to believe that something is deliberately preventing further exploration, an invisible entity or a strange phenomenon that cannot be explained. Divers participating in the surveys also repeatedly report strange incidents. The detection equipment suddenly stops working. The signal is intermittent, as if a giant object is interfering with the sonar waves. Could it be that an invisible structure is lurking in the ocean, resisting all attempts to approach? 2. Autonomous underwater robots. What you see but can't understand. In 2021, an underwater technology company developed an autonomous underwater robot, the UV, capable of operating at depths of up to 1,500 meters below the surface, even beyond the limits of the blue hole. The robot is equipped with an extremely sharp camera, advanced sonar scanner, and an automatic data analysis system. When the robot was dropped into the central area of the blue hole, the signal from the camera continuously played back images of a strange dark area at the bottom. Structures resembling rock walls were partially obscured, forming circles or irregular shapes. However, when the robot's system tried to get close to these areas, a strange phenomenon occurred. The robot's entire control system lost connection. The image signal stopped transmitting, and even the position tracking system failed. After a few minutes of pause, the signal was reconnected, but there was nothing but an empty space. All the images recorded by the robot, no matter how clear, could not explain these structures. The research team later reported that, despite the advancement of technology, it was clear that there was some element at the bottom of the blue hole that was interfering, making all exploration efforts meaningless. It seemed that this area was hiding a mystery that humans could not access. 3. Suspicious discoveries. Despite advanced technology, discoveries at the bottom of the hole still cannot escape the mystery. In a survey in 2020, explorers discovered an ancient tomb at the bottom, hidden deep in the sediment. This tomb could be identified as a structure that did not belong to any civilization we know of. There were no signs of any culture that had been discovered before in the Caribbean. Strangely, when a group of divers tried to approach this tomb to examine it closely, a sudden cold wave of water crashed into them, and a strong vortex suddenly appeared, pushing them away from their original position. Those who participated in this survey all described an unusually cold feeling that enveloped their bodies when approaching the tomb. Those feelings were as if an invisible force was protecting what was buried there. So, is this the vestige of a civilization that was wiped out by a terrible disaster, and their existence is now just a whisper in the dark? 4. Mysterious warnings. Never come back. One of the most chilling details about recent expeditions is the mysterious warnings that many divers received before they went to the bottom of the hole. These warnings did not come from the government or research organizations, but from veteran divers who had dived in the Great Blue Hole. These men all say the same thing. Once you get close to the bottom, never look back. It will make you never want to leave. This warning becomes all the more terrifying when some divers, after leaving the area, are unable to return to their normal lives. They have a constant feeling of being watched, and many describe strange dreams about the bottom of the hole, a place from which they cannot escape, being pulled ever deeper. And as the chapter ends, the Great Blue Hole remains what has been called a window into the eternal mystery. Technology may help us understand a little more about its structure, but every time we think we have discovered a little more, the hole quietly conceals itself. It takes away the rest, as if it had a terrible power, enough to make all exploration meaningless. Chapter 8. Strange signals and their relationship to mysterious phenomena around the world. Despite modern surveys and explorations, the Great Blue Hole remains a symbol of unsolved mysteries. However, the strange signals emitted from this area open up an intriguing hypothesis that the blue hole may be related to larger mysterious phenomena, strange events occurring all over the world. From mysterious sounds in the ocean to unexplained disappearances, could it all be connected to a network of supernatural phenomena that exist? 1. Mysterious acoustic signals. Is something calling? One of the strange discoveries in recent expeditions is the strange sounds emitted from the Great Blue Hole. Researchers have recorded unexplained audio signals, echoing through sonar equipment and underwater recorders. These sounds have a regular rhythm, sometimes a soft hiss, sometimes a deep rumble, as if coming from a large, unexplored area. What's scary is that they don't resemble any natural sounds that researchers have ever encountered. Some divers believe that this could be a sign of an invisible mechanism calling someone, or even a sign of the existence of an undiscovered creature in the depths of the hole. These strange sounds have sparked heated discussions in the scientific community. Are they related to supernatural phenomena, or are they simply part of a natural ecosystem that has not been thoroughly studied? Interestingly, some reports from people living near the Great Blue Hole say that they have also heard strange noises on quiet nights, seemingly coming from there. These sounds are sometimes compared to the calling signals of old legends, such as calls from cursed places or sacred lands. 2. Mysterious disappearances. Is the Blue Hole the culprit? Disappearances involving the Great Blue Hole are not uncommon. Although it is considered a popular tourist diving spot, the area is not without its fair share of stories of people who mysteriously disappear and are never found. Most of these disappearances occur when boats or divers venture too close to the center of the hole. One notable incident was the disappearance of a group of divers in 1998. While they were conducting a survey dive to the bottom of the Blue Hole, all contact was suddenly lost. Despite months of searching, no trace was found, and none of the missing people were ever found. Investigators believe the divers may have encountered a strange phenomenon, such as a whirlpool or an unexplained current. A more daring theory is that the Blue Hole may be a black hole, an area where currents, waves, and other natural forces can create a powerful force that can cause things to be swept into it and never return. These theories have led to a debate among researchers about the existence of natural underwater gateways that could be linked to holes in space, a concept that once seemed like science fiction. 3. Mysterious connections, blue holes, and global phenomena. The disappearances and strange signals from the Great Blue Hole may seem like random events, but some researchers believe they may be linked to a larger phenomenon, a web of supernatural and natural events that connects mysterious points around the world. For example, the disappearances in the Bermuda Triangle area have similar characteristics. Ships and planes in this area have disappeared without a trace, and many believe that the Bermuda Triangle also has a connection to strange phenomena that occur in similar areas, such as the Great Blue Hole. Both areas have the presence of unusual water currents, waves, and warnings from people who have had terrifying experiences. Many people have also theorized that dimensional portals may exist on the seafloor in areas like the Great Blue Hole and the Bermuda Triangle, where space and time are distorted. This would explain the mysterious disappearances, strange audio signals, and the feeling of being watched that many people feel when they approach these areas. Is the Great Blue Hole a key point in a network of holes where space and time can be distorted? 4. Finally, we stand before the door to the great mystery. At the end of our exploration, we are faced with the inevitable question. Is the Great Blue Hole the key to a greater mystery that we have yet to solve? Is it a place where other worlds intersect, where strange phenomena and the powerful waves of nature merge into something incomprehensible? Although the technology, no matter how advanced technology becomes, questions surrounding the Great Blue Hole remain unanswered. Strange audio signals, mysterious disappearances, and warnings from those who came before us make us wonder, is there something deep below the sea, undiscovered, that could change our understanding of the world?